On this lesson, you have to find slopes in order to tell if the line going through the points is parallel or perpendicular. So basically we have to find the slope first. So the slope of line 1, I'm going to write down the equations for you that you need to know. So slope, we call that m, is equal to the second y minus the first y divided by the second x minus the first x. So if you were to name the first point like x1, y1, and this is x sub 2, y sub 2, then you could plug that into the equation to get 7 minus 2. So 7 minus 2 divided by negative 4 minus a negative 2, which is negative 4 plus 2. Sorry, I just did it there. So it's 5 over negative 2. So I would type in negative 5 halves right here. And then you find the slope of each one. Okay, so the next thing you need to know, so I'm going to keep these equations up here. And okay, so let's see, what else? You need to know that parallel lines have the exact same slope. And then perpendicular lines, they have opposite reciprocals. So if it's positive, then the perpendicular line will be negative. And if 1 is 1/2, then the perpendicular line will be negative 2 over 1. So, okay, so we're going to go ahead and start. And hopefully, good. It didn't really cover up my notes a little bit, but not too much. Here, I'll use a different color so we know what to erase when we're done. Okay, so the slope of line 1. So we're going to say x sub 1 is 0 and y sub 1 equals 2. So that's our first point, 0, 2. Our second point is 2, negative 2. So we follow this formula, y sub 2 is negative 2 minus y sub 1, which is 2, divided by x sub 2, which is 2, minus x sub 1, which is 0. Negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4, and 2 minus 0 is 2. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. So the slope of line 1 is negative 2. Then we're going to find the slope of line 2. And we have, let's see, x sub 1 is 1. Y sub 1 is negative 5. X sub 2 is negative 1. And y sub 2 is negative 1. So these are just my points. 1, negative 5, negative 1, negative 1. So we use our formula for slope. M equals y sub 2 is negative 1 minus y sub 1, which is negative 5, divided by x sub 2, which is negative 1, minus x sub 1, which is 1. So negative 1 minus a negative 5 is same thing as negative 1 plus 5, which is same thing as 5 minus 1, which is 4, over negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. That's also a negative 2. So right away, I know that line 1 and line 2 are going to be parallel. Okay, so then let's figure out the slopes for line 3. So we have x sub 1 equals negative 5, y sub 1 equals negative 4, x sub 2 equals negative 3, and y sub 2 equals 0. So slope is going to be y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. And we have a positive 4 divided by a positive 2. So this equals 2. And line 3 will be neither parallel nor perpendicular to the other two. So 1 and 2 are parallel. They have the exact same slope. 1 and 3 is neither. So in order to be perpendicular, it has to be the reciprocal. So this should be, if we wanted 3 to be perpendicular to 1, this would be a positive 1/2, but it's not. And 2 and 3 is neither. Okay, so let's see. I'm thinking that I just want to erase the green. Oh, this is going to take me a while, you guys. Okay, so boom, boom, boom. Try to go faster. Boom. I'm going to do one more. Oh, that's all we have is one more example. Okay, I was going to say I'm not going to do 3 here because it's taking a while. Okay, so I'm going to find the slope of line 1. So we have x sub 1 equals 0, y sub 1 equals 3, x sub 2 equals -7, and y sub 2 equals -2. So slope is y sub 2, -2, minus y sub 1 is 3. X sub 2 is -7 minus x sub 1, which is 0. -2 minus 3 is -5 over -7, which is a positive 5/7. So we'll write this here, 5/7. And then for line 2, we do x sub 1 is -5, y sub 1 is 8, x sub 2 is 0, and y sub 2 is 1. So using the formula, we have y sub 2 is 1 minus y sub 1 is 8 divided by x sub 2, which is 0, minus a -5. This becomes positive, so our denominator is 5. 1 minus 8 is a -7. Ooh, -7/5. So notice that's the opposite of the first one and the reciprocal. So these two would be perpendicular. Okay, let's look at line 3. I'm going to write down here, x sub 1 is 0, y sub 1 equals -3, x sub 2 equals 7, y sub 2 equals 2. So our slope, y sub 2 is 2 minus y sub 1 is -3 divided by x sub 2, which is 7, minus x sub 1 is 0. Denominator 7, and the numerator is 5. So this is positive 5/7. So I can already see that line 1 and line 3 will be parallel. Okay, so line 1 and line 2 are perpendicular. Line 1 and line 3 are parallel, and line 2 and line 3 are also perpendicular. Okay, that's the end of the lesson.